Welcome to the instructions on how to get the most out of this Marksbook. Firstly, you need to enable content and macros. To do this, you need to click on File, then Options down the bottom left-hand corner, and then click on Trust Center, then Trust Center Settings, then Macros Settings, and then we need to enable VBA macros by selecting the fourth option as shown. It's really important to click OK and then OK again to save these settings. Next, we need to set up our Marksbook by clicking the Setup tab down the bottom of the page. We first have to enter the course and the teacher's names. Here we can update the names for different sections of our assessment. So for example, we can type Standard, Advanced and Extension. We can have up to 6 different sections per assessment. We can also change the grade cutoffs and the assessment types if you like. Next up, we need to input the student names and marks into our Marksbook. So jump across to the Markbook tab down the bottom and we can import the names of our students or type them individually. It's very important to press the Add Assessment button to update the macros after we have added the student names. Here we've added the first assessment, which is a test worth 10%, and we've entered the marks for each section. When we enter the Marksbook automatically updates the percentage for each assessment as well as the final average mark for the year. It'll also assign a grade based on your cutoffs and a rank. You can also add comments. For example, you can put in comment, say, top mark. Let's add another assessment. This time we'll change the section names to non-calculator and calculator allowed. Then we press the Add Assessment button in the Markbook. This time we can call it an investigation worth 5%. Next we can assign some marks to the calculator and non-calculator sections. This will then update the total marks to 60. Here are the marks for this assessment. What if you add an assessment but you've made a mistake? For example, here we've added an assignment but we want to add or remove a section. Or maybe we want to remove a student. So we're going to remove the assessment by clicking the Remove Assessment button. We're going to change the sections to Take Home and In Class. And this time when we press the Add Assessment, it's going to update the names of the sections. And we're going to call it an assignment worth 7%. What if you want to add an assessment, but it's just got one section? How do you do that? Well, you can just delete one of the section names. For example, here is a response task. I don't want section 2, so I can just delete section 2 and assign 63 marks to it. And then all I need to do is enter in the marks in the first column. Most subjects will only require one section for each assessment. After you've added a few assessments, you can click on the Graphs tab down the bottom and look at the distributions. When you click on the drop-down arrows, you can cycle through all the different students in the class on the left and all the different assessments on the right. The yellow dot on the left graph shows the average mark for each assessment and the blue bars show the students' marks for each assessment. On the right side, the green bars show the distribution of scores for the class for that particular assessment, and the red dot shows where the currently selected students scored. Next up, we have the optional Homework tab down the bottom. If you click the Update Homework button, it will refresh the screen with all the correct students, marks and grades from the main Markbook. You can enter the homework marks into the relevant weeks and it will update the average. You can then add a new assessment by clicking the Add Assessment button. And we will call it Homework. It might have a weighting of 5%, for example, and what you can do is then copy this homework average column and paste it into the first column. They're all red because I forgot to update the marks for semester 1 to be out of 100. Finally, we can click on the Graphs tab again and notice that the homework assessment has been added as a new assessment on the left side. We can also check that the class distribution of homework on the right side by selecting it from the drop-down menu. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can get some use out of this Marksbook.